2026. You are not a hero. You are not a soldier standing knee-deep in the mud, holding a rifle under the pouring rain. You don't see the sky. You don't feel the wind. You don't smell the metallic tang of fresh blood or the sulfur of burnt gunpowder. You are 21 years old. Your entire childhood was spent in a comfortable, ergonomic chair, a gaming controller fused to your hands. You grew up on first-person shooters where death was just a 5-second respawn timer. You thought you understood warfare. You thought your hand-eye coordination made you a predator. You were completely wrong. War has changed forever. It no longer looks like a movie. It looks like compressed digital pixels, and it sounds like the high-frequency, deafening whine of 4 brushless electric motors. You sit in a damp, hermetically sealed concrete bunker. This is your command post. You are sitting 300 miles away from the actual front line. There are no windows here. The air is heavy, stale, and suffocating. It smells of ozone, melting salt, the hot dust of overworked servers, cheap energy drinks, and old, sour human sweat. The only light comes from the dead, pale green glow of tactical monitors and the blinking LED indicators of charging stations. Around your feet are dozens of heavy, black rectangular blocks. Lithium polymer batteries. These are your magazines. These are your bullets. Your weapon is not an M4 carbine. Your weapon is a heavily modified radio transmitter. A controller. The gimbals are worn smooth from thousands of hours of friction. Your thumbs rest on the analog sticks with surgical robotic precision. You pick up your FPV goggles. Massive, heavy, custom-built, fat sharks. You pull the elastic strap over your head. It bites painfully into the back of your skull. The foam padding seals tightly against your face, instantly and completely cutting you off from the physical world. You flip the power switch. The dual OLED screens inside the goggles flash blindingly white for a fraction of a second, before settling into the chaotic, gray grain of analog video static. In this exact moment, you cease to be a 21-year-old kid sitting in a basement. Your consciousness is instantly beamed 300 miles forward. You possess a volatile machine made of carbon fiber, 3D printed plastic, and 3 pounds of high explosives, currently resting on the wet dirt in the gray zone. Bird 44, clear for takeoff. A dry metallic voice rasps through the radio on your desk. You don't reply. You simply push the left stick up and to the right. Arming sequence complete. The motors scream to life. The audio is fed through the drone's onboard microphone directly into your earpiece. It is a terrifying, angry swarm of electronic hornets. You punch the throttle. You leave the Earth. The physics of the flight are punishingly real. You feel every subtle gust of wind, every micro drop in voltage. You are flying merely 10 feet above the ground. Your speed is pushing 80 miles per hour. The terrain below blurs into a continuous, sickening smear of brown and gray. You weave violently between the charred, skeletal remains of dead trees. Every millimeter of movement on the right stick results in a razor-sharp, aggressive pitch of the drone. The crossfire radio link is unstable. Electronic warfare is heavy in this sector. The enemy is jamming the 5.8 gigahertz video band. The image inside your goggles stutters violently. Thick, tearing horizontal lines of rainbow static slash across your vision. The analog noise physically hurts your eyes. Sometimes, the video feed drops out entirely for half a second. In those half seconds, you are flying absolutely blind at 80 miles per hour, relying entirely on muscle memory, spatial awareness, and pure instinct. It is an unadulterated, toxic dose of adrenaline. Your heart rate monitors peg at 150 beats per minute. A cold, Heavy sweat rolls down your spine, soaking your shirt. Yet, your hands remain absolutely, terrifyingly perfectly still. Your fingers are a precision instrument of death. You break out into an open clearing, a ruined industrial complex, rusted steel hangars and collapsed concrete pipes. The artificial intelligence integrated into your visual interface is continuously scanning the raw video feed. Faint, pale green bounding boxes flicker across your screen, calculating geometry that does not match the natural environment. Suddenly, one of the boxes snaps solid red. A harsh, high-pitched digital buzzer sounds in your ear. Target lock. Parked next to a half-collapsed brick facility is an armored transport vehicle. Around it, 5 human figures are moving. They are unloading heavy wooden crates. They are not looking at the sky. They have no idea that the Reaper is already staring down at them through a scratched, dirty camera lens. You take a deep, shaky breath and hold it. Your lungs freeze. You pitch up, gaining altitude, climbing to 150 feet. The enemy is too busy. The heavy diesel idle of their armored truck completely masks the whine of your approaching propellers. You select your target, not the machine, the soft targets, the people. You push the right stick aggressively forward. The nose of the drone snaps down. You enter a vertical dive. Gravity multiplies your speed. 90 miles per hour, 110, 130. The earth rushes up to smash into your face. The 5 figures expand rapidly on your screens. 2 seconds to impact. One of the men suddenly drops his crate. He looks straight up. You can see his face clearly now. The camera resolution is just good enough. You see his unshaven jaw. You see the whites of his eyes widening in absolute primal terror. You see his mouth open to scream a warning that no one will hear in time. He raises his bare hand upward, a pathetic, desperate, purely instinctual attempt to shield his face from a flying piece of plastic moving faster than a race car. It is a gesture of ultimate, raw despair. You are looking directly into his soul. Your thumb on the controller does not flinch. You feel absolutely nothing. Half a second. The screen is entirely consumed by his terrified face. And then, bang, a perfectly solid, bright blue screen. The words "no signal" burn in stark white font. Absolute, dead, suffocating silence. There is no deafening explosion. There is no shockwave rattling your teeth. There is no fireball, no flying shrapnel. No smell of burning flesh and copper. There is just a blue screen, as if someone simply unplugged a television. The video transmitter was instantly vaporized in the detonation. You sit in your secure, climate-controlled bunker. Your hands are still tightly gripping the plastic controller. Your breath catches in your throat. You just evaporated a human being, probably several. But your primitive monkey brain completely refuses to process it, because your body didn't feel the harsh kick of a rifle recoil. You weren't blinded by muzzle flash. For your central nervous system, this was just an incredibly difficult, highly immersive video game that abruptly ended. Target destroyed. Good hit. 44. Prep the next bird. The radio operator drones, completely devoid of emotion. You rip the goggles off your face. The dim, fluorescent light of the bunker sears your pupils. You blink rapidly, desperately trying to force your eyes to focus on the real world. The adrenaline crash hits you like a physical blow to the chest. Your hands begin to shake with a violent, disgusting tremor. You stand up in silence. You walk over to the charging rack. You grab a fresh, heavy battery. You walk over to the next identical drone chassis. You plug in the yellow XT60 connector. A spark, a beep. The green LED powers on. You sit back down. You pull the goggles over your eyes. Blue screen, arming sequence, dive, kill, blue screen. Over and over and over again. 12 hours a shift. At first, you feel like a god. You sit in the dark, safe and untouchable, dictating the life and death of men struggling in the mud hundreds of miles away. You look down on them from the clouds. They look like ants. Tiny, frantic, irrelevant pixels on a screen. You erase them from existence with a single microscopic twitch of your thumb. It is intoxicating. It gives you a sick, twisted illusion of ultimate control. You are the apex predator of the new technological era. But then, the desensitization takes root. The human mind is not built to process industrialized, remote murder. To survive, your brain simply shuts off your empathy. It flips a breaker. You mutate into a cold, calculating machine, a biological extension of the radio transmitter. The faces of the enemy blur into abstract shapes. Their imagined screams are entirely muted. Over the course of 4 months, you have successfully eliminated over 120 targets. You do not know a single one of their names. You do not know if they had wives, if they had children, if they had hopes for the future. You only know that they stepped inside the red digital bounding box of your targeting software. And that was enough to end their timeline. And then comes Shift 2. The night flights. It is 0300 hours. The bunker is freezing. Condensation drips from the concrete ceiling. You sit in your heavy winter jacket, watching the vapor of your own breath dissipate in the dark. You plug in. Night ops require the thermal imaging camera, FLIR. The entire world is instantly reduced to 2 harsh realities. White is hot, black is cold. You fly high, 3,000 feet. The drone is absolutely invisible against the pitch-black night sky. Below you, the terrain is a chilling, dead black void. You scan a ruined village. The houses have no roofs. They look like the hollow, rotting teeth of a skull. Suddenly, movement. Deep inside the basement of a ruined church, a bright, pulsing white spot appears. A heat source. You drop altitude to investigate. 3 glowing white human silhouettes are huddled closely together in the freezing dark. They are trying to share body heat. The artificial intelligence instantly throws aggressive red triangles over them. Potential hostile infantry cluster detected. The algorithm prompts on your HUD. You press the radio button. Command, this is 44. I have 3 thermal signatures in Sector 9. Status unknown, requesting rules of engagement. The radio is silent for 10 agonizing seconds. Then the voice returns. 44. Intel confirms Sector 9 is a designated free fire zone. No friendly or civilian presence. You are cleared to engage. Wipe them out. The bureaucracy of death operates flawlessly. Someone in a different bunker looked at a digital map, saw no blue tracking dots, and casually ordered an execution. You flip the arming switch. You push the nose down. You enter the terminal dive. The 3 white silhouettes on your screen rapidly expand. You are coming in fast. 200 feet. 150. And then, a fraction of a second before the point of no return, you see a terrifying anomaly. One of the white silhouettes breaks away from the group. The proportions are entirely wrong. The movement is too small, too erratic, too clumsy. It is not a soldier. It is a child. They weren't hiding from the freezing cold. They were hiding from you. Your brain screams, "Abort!" Your hand violently yanks the right stick all the way back to your chest, desperately fighting to pull the drone's nose up into the dark sky. But physics has no mercy. The inertia of a heavy quadcopter carrying a shaped charge at 100 miles per hour cannot be reversed in 50 feet. It is too late. The white glowing shape of the child fills the entire screen. And then, bang. A perfect, sterile, immaculate blue screen. No signal. You tear the goggles off your head so violently the strap snaps. You fall to your hands and knees on the freezing, filthy concrete floor, and you vomit. You heave until your throat bleeds, trying to physically expel the horror from your body. Your commanding officer walks over. He places a heavy, reassuring hand on your trembling shoulder. Incredible hit, son. Dead center. You got all three. He was watching the live feed on the main monitor. But he didn't see a child. He only saw 3 abstract, glowing white pixels extinguish into blackness. The algorithm is satisfied. The quota is met. You stumble over to the rusted metal sink in the corner of the bunker. You twist the handle. Freezing, brown, rust-filled water spits out. You splash it on your face. You slowly lift your head and look into the cracked, dirty mirror on the wall. A corpse is staring back at you. Your skin is ash gray. Your eyes are deeply sunken, hollow, and entirely dead. Your body is perfectly intact. There isn't a single scratch on you. But your soul just burned to ash in that basement alongside those white silhouettes. This is the psychological toll of the new war. It doesn't arrive with a dramatic explosion. It creeps in like a parasite. It starts with the insomnia. When your shift ends and you finally lie down on your cot, you close your eyes, but you do not see darkness. You see television snow. The harsh, biting white static of analog video loss is permanently burned into your retinas. Your nervous system completely unravels. When you walk into the mess hall and smell fresh coffee, your brain misfires, and all you can smell is the toxic, sweet chemical odor of a punctured lithium battery burning. When you look at the other soldiers walking past you, your mind involuntarily tries to draw glowing red targeting boxes around their heads. You lose the fundamental ability to separate physical reality from the digital simulation. Eventually, the war ends. Your contract expires. You are sent home. You return to your quiet hometown in Kansas. You get a peaceful, mind-numbing job working in a logistics warehouse, moving cardboard boxes. The people around you laugh, drink beers on the porch, complain about mortgage rates, and watch sports. They call you a hero. They thank you for your service. They have no idea that you never actually came back. A part of you is still sitting in that freezing concrete basement, staring into the static. You cannot be in a room with a closed door. The claustrophobia instantly crushes your chest, mimicking the bunker. You cannot sleep in a quiet house. The silence is too loud. But the absolute worst moments happen when the grid fails. When a storm knocks out the power and your house is plunged into total, pitch-black darkness. You stop breathing. You lie perfectly still in your bed. You strain your ears against the dark, and you hear it. A high-pitched, steady, electronic whine. The sound of 4 brushless motors spinning at 10,000 revolutions per minute.
It sounds like it is hovering exactly 2 feet above your face. The drone has finally come for you. Reality check. Myth versus reality. Myth. Warfare is a proving ground for heroes. It is a place of glory, brotherhood, and physical courage. Reality. Modern warfare is a cold, industrialized technological slaughterhouse, managed remotely by stressed, traumatized, and permanently broken teenagers holding video game controllers. Myth. When the soldier comes home, the war is left behind, you are safe. Reality. Psychological trauma is a biological infection of the brain's architecture. It rewires your threat response. There is no surgery to remove it. There is no cure. You wanted to be a hero on a glowing screen. You just became a ghost trapped inside your own mind. Next episode, the deep-sea saturation diver, 300 meters down, 28 days in a metal tube, 1 mistake, and the ocean crushes you into paste. Reality is brutal. We tell it without filters. Subscribe. Your nightmare is just beginning.